Hi, welcome everyone. This is a meeting of the Public Arts Commission for the town of Amherst, and this meeting is being recorded due to suspension of some open meeting laws by our wonderful governor. This recording will be uploaded to the town of Amherst YouTube channel by our IT staff, hopefully by Friday. And at this time, I would encourage Tom Wardrer, the chair, to take over. And Tom, I will make you the host, and we should do a sound and video check for everyone.
Okay.
Have a great meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lori, are you both speaking and hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
And Dara,
I can hear you.
okay, and Lynn.
I can hear.
Okay, Mikey.
I can hear and
Okay.
see.
And Terry's on her way in.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, okay, we're all set. Okay, thank you. And just like 5 minutes ago, I sent everyone an email with the agenda, the minutes, draft minutes from the last meeting, and a document that Lori wrote, which is her draft revision of our policy and mission document. So I'm going to start sharing the screen. Figure out which one it is. Anyway, here's the minutes. So if folks would take a look through this. So our last meeting was January 23rd. Everyone was present. The updates were that we were being joined by Lynn for her first meeting with us. And then regarding the town hall gallery, that February would be given over to the Amherst Black History exhibit, the same one that was up last year. And that our next painter to be exhibited is Elena Sturm. They will hang their paintings on Monday, that first Monday in March, and we will have the artist reception the first Friday in March. This what day that is.
The first Friday in March is the 7th.
7th. Okay, that's the day then, the 7th. Okay. So that'll
What time
be
will the opening be?
6. That will be 6 p.m. through 7:30. I'll
Okay,
take
thank
care
you.
of getting the food and drinks, and with Angela, get the table set up. Okay. And I just noted here too that Lynn had made the very good suggestion that we expand the number of places that we post for artists to exhibit in the gallery. And I am doing that bit by bit right now. As of that last meeting in January, we were waiting to hear from the Cultural Council about our proposal for 2025. That was a $1,650 request to do 3 more traffic boxes. I just got an email this morning where they gave us only $690.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So I got kind of disgusted and just put that email aside for the moment. Oh, this is going on public record, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's one project instead of
That's
three.
that's one box.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably
what we
like
can-
all places, we have to ask for more money than we usually, more
Well, we did, but they cut it in half.
So,
Yeah.
Tom, did they take back the funds from the previous money that we were rewarded?
No, that's sitting in our account. I was supposed to send you, Terry, an email thread from Paul Bockelman
Yep.
making our excuse for why we couldn't do the project. I'm remiss in not doing that, and I will do that this evening. I
Okay,
think
no problem.
we
Thank you.
should go ahead and write that letter as we intended.
Is it possible to CC all of us on correspondence like that?
Yes, I think it is.
Because I think it makes sense for us to all know exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we ever find out what happened to the money that we were, when we weren't able to go forward with the public art project? And then they had already released money to us and they said we could keep it. Do we know what happened to that money?
The town seems to have swallowed that money. It's not in our account. And I guess I'm trying to figure out to whom I'll have to ask Angela to do the homework on that. I don't know who to ask.
What was that amount of money, Terry? Do you remember?
It was $5,000.
Yep, because we initially got 10, right?
Right. Yeah, and they let us keep the 5,
Mm-hmm.
which was very nice of them.
Okay, so that's
What was the name of the group again? I mean, we should have that money.
NEFA,
NEFA,
New England, was it New England?
Foundation for the Art.
Foundation for the Arts. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can ask Lynn who we should talk to, but I think Paul Brockman would be the person.
Well, he
think-
would just have to do the homework himself. So I'd
Yeah.
like to be able to point to him where it went and what happened.
I believe this is a question I've already asked him. I don't think I ever got a response.
Yeah. But if we need his authority to pry and answer free, yes, definitely. Okay.
I think we should ask him. I mean, we don't have money to work with, and that's a significant chunk of money.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I'm not sure if we gave back the money from the Boltwood project too. I don't remember how much that was.
Well, oh, wait a minute. I
Or-
thought that was the Boltwood project.
No, what we're talking about right now is the Making It Public grant that we got. We got a $10,000 grant, one of 5 cities that year, I think, that got this grant. But then we lost our one of our planner who was doing all the work with us. She went to a different job and left us
Maureen.
planner less.
right.
Maureen, who is wonderful.
Yep.
She left us plannerless, so we tried like hell to make it happen still, and we just could not without that town support, and we had to drop it. And they were very sweet and understanding about it, and said, but they did say, please don't apply again for a while until you guys get your shit together. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm confusing those two grants. So
So
thanks.
that's 5,000. So the Boltwood project, we probably, I want to say, was it 500? I don't remember.
I
Was
thought
it
that was
1,000?
1,500.
Was it 1,500? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That's what my memory,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe we.
So I don't know if that went back to the town or if that went back. I don't know if we gave that back. I'm not sure where that went. Accounting is a hard thing in this town to get an idea where the money is. I don't know.
Did you, Tara, did you know that it had to be earmarked exactly for what it was first given? Or could it have been transferred to something else?
I think it has to be earmarked, and at the end of the grant season, you're supposed to write up a review on how you use the money, or the money gets released back to the Arts Council some way
Yeah.
or another. The problem we are having here, Tom, and I don't know how to solve this, is that we need a treasurer who can have a Excel sheet that says what money we have, where it is, what money is going out, what money is coming in, because otherwise it's just
Yeah.
up in the cloud. So that's a problem that's been ongoing for a couple of years since we all started.
I have a lot of files that I was just given, by the way, from Amy Crawley, and one of them is the electrical box makeover project. And I've got quite a few things in this container about different things that went on. So I'm gonna be giving all of that to Tom. But Amy found a whole file of stuff, and so she gave it to me.
Well, thank you. That's good.
Was she on the commission?
Yeah, she was, and she ran the gallery in the town hall for 3 years. And she was also quite involved in the arts night, helping put that together. But as she said, we didn't do that. It was through Hope and Feather and the bid that really put that together. But that the Public Arts Commission helped on it.
Mhm.
So I have all that information, as well as information on the art display on that used to be this whole thing, the history mural, Amherst Community History Mural at the West Cemetery. I have all of that information.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be dropping all that off to you, Tom.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Mhm. Okay,
I'll see if there's, what else is in this package too.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, getting back to Terry's point about our lack of suitable access to financial information. It seems that the town just isn't set up to deal with committees. And you have to sort of ask for things one at a time through the assigned liaison. But I'll see whether I can get at least, a static copy of what they've got currently, and then we can start keeping separate books, even if they won't send us, authoritative updates to it. It'll at least be better than what we've had. Okay.
Well, if we could get the $5,000, then we could use that in whatever way we
Yes,
choose. And we
definitely.
could use it towards the traffic boxes and,
Mhm.
and it sounds like there's money from the Boltwood project that I think we should use we talked about making a sign there to do
Mhm.
something so
Yes.
to sort of shut it down.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think we all have looked at the windows enough probably to know that I think the whole thing has to be like reconsidered because
Mhm.
it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Never did really.
Well, no, it didn't. I spent a funny little moment listening to two of the town people who work for the town on maintenance and cleaning stuff up, and they were standing out there having a big laugh about what a joke it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sad, kind of, but also
Tell me what,
what.
can you tell
Sorry.
me what you're talking about, what the location is, or?
On top of the underground garage,
Oh,
there's
okay.
a little stone building that has little windows in it that are supposedly places that you can put art.
So
of some
facing
kind.
out of the
Face-
window?
Yeah,
That's
Like
right.
it's like a mini exhibit, really.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just tiny little windows. So it's a very unique thing, but it doesn't work.
you can't see, and it's not fixed right for an artist to be able to use it. It's a good idea that never got
Okay, I'll take a
followed
look
through.
at it.
Mhm.
You know, it'd be
Yeah.
a really good use for that building is to slap a big old mural on it.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I don't know if the outside of it can handle that, but
Well, that was that bus wrap idea that I
yeah,
had. So
Yeah.
we can get back to that, especially if we can determine we've got some money to actually do it. So again, as a reminder, that would be to put a mural on the glass portion of that building, provided that it wouldn't make the interior too dark.
and also it can't make the interior not able to be seen from the outside because it being open windows is supposed to make it safe.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's like we own a folly, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
but maybe we can think of something to do with it because I don't even know if it's a space that almost anybody walks by, you know. Anyway,
Should we vote on the, from last month's meeting?
that would be great. I'm interested in getting to the what you all discovered going to the meeting about
Okay.
I
Okay,
move
so-
to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, second,
Second.
I
all
second.
approved, all
Yep.
who approve?
Yeah.
Okay, the minutes pass. Before I forget, let me make one quick announcement. I just got an email on Friday from the new director of the Business Improvement District, and I have a meeting with him coming up on Thursday morning to fill him in on who we are, what we do, and to see what kinds of things we can work on together and what the bids plans are. So it's been quite a while. It took them quite a while to get a replacement person, but that person is now on board.
And
Could you ask them to visit us?
Mhm. I haven't yet.
No, but could you?
Oh, could I? Yes,
Yeah.
I will do
It might
that.
be really good to meet them,
Definitely.
and talk to
Mhm.
them.
Definitely.
who is
Thank you.
this?
Let me again try to get to my calendar and find his name.
Okay.
Is it John Page?
Sounds right.
John Page is the head of the bid.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm forwarding you an email that he sent me that I completely missed. I hope this hasn't been here long. 4 days ago. So sorry. I'm going to send this right along to you. Okay.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you.
I don't know if you've all heard, but Hampshire is our president is leaving, and so we're in the middle of we're beginning a big presidential search, and
Mhm.
I've been pretty busy. So sorry. So I'm just
Okay.
going to send this right along to you. He sent it on February 20th. It's just kind of an introduction. So send that right along.
Mhm. Okay. Um,
You're gonna send that to everybody on the committee?
Yeah, thank you.
I can do that.
Mhm. Okay, we'll turn now to giving you an update on the meeting Lori and I had with the Percent for Art, on Percent for Art. So on Friday morning, she and I met with Paul Bockelman, Kathy Schern, who's chair of the Building Project Committee, and Lynn Griesmer, who's chair of the Town Council. I'll give a quick um, outline of the meeting. Then I'd like to ask Lori to pick it up and talk about her observations, and we can all discuss topics here. So in preparation for this meeting, Lori and I did some online research to find other projects, example projects at schools, Percent for Art at schools, and where possible to find out what their budget was. And that's not always easy or
Oops.
Uh-oh,
am I back?
Yeah.
yes.
Mama always said there would be days like this. So um so I ran us through what we found, and basically there's a wide range of stuff that people have done, as you might imagine, and I've sent you the some links and examples and sources to look at. Lucky finding I found online in the state of Washington was from a company that does a lot of these Percent for Art projects in the state of Washington, where they've been doing this for quite a while. And he said that and this was 2018 posting on a blog, he said that those projects varied in price between about 25,000 and 125,000. So noting that we would want to update this number for $2025. So I relayed that information at the meeting. That is against the background of the Amherst Elementary School project showing a budget line of 250,000, which is the 1/2 of 1% of the eligible part of the project budget to be used for the for public art. I was advised ahead of time by Paul that we're not going to see 250,000. It's going to be less than that. And as you probably remember, the bylaw gives the town council the possibility of just striking the whole percent for art or reducing the amount dedicated to it. Okay, so I presented those findings, and I also made the report that we have found, I think I'd stopped at 6 sample RFPs, sample calls for artists. And those are extremely helpful. Some of them are as detailed as 8 pages in length, and they include things such as what forms of artwork they're willing to consider, locations, drawings, so the artist can sort of feel where things might go. Timing, all kinds, and process, all kinds of rules. So we can again we can look at those and work from them to put together that call. The other thing, this is the last piece that I'll give as summary. Purpose of the meeting was to clarify the different roles in the project. And again, if we think back to the bylaw charges the Public Arts Commission with essentially managing the whole project, even though the change in the bylaws from the originally passed version to the published version really pretty much takes that all out of our hands.
Who was responsible for taking it out of the Apex hands?
Well, there was a committee, an ad hoc committee that met in 2019, and
2019.
Jim was on that. And I've forgotten, Kazan is the man's last name, who was the
Yeah.
chair. They were two of the 5 committee members. Kathy Shern was on it,
Yep.
and I've forgotten at the moment who else. But that came about because the town got word from the state legislature, quote unquote, I don't know the details, that the way the bylaw was written was improper, that you could not take a slice out of a capital project, spend some of it on that project, and then keep the rest as an operating fund for the Public Art Commission. So the way this works now is that the percent for art is just a line item in the project plan and budget. And so we suggested to the meeting on Friday that once the artwork and artists are selected, that the project manager for the project should be the one to manage that work. In other words, the liaison with the artist, arrangement of dates, access, materials, all that. The bylaw also provides for the formation of an ad hoc advisory committee. And in this group here, in the commission, last spring, we gave Paul Bockelman some suggestions on profiles of people and the identities of some people we nominated to be on that committee. So coming out of Friday's meeting, the way I believe things are going to work is that we, APAC, will draw up the specifications for what the artwork is to be once we get the budget back from Paul and the town council and the project committee, because all these RFP documents prominently display what the budget is that the artist has to work with. So we need to have that. We're going to need to wrangle out, again, the specifications, kinds of artwork, placement, things of that sort. And then once that RFP goes out, then that ad hoc committee steps forward, reviews the returns, selects finalists, and then those finalists are given a stipend to further detail their plans and given some more time then to bring back finalized proposals. And so that at that stage, the ad hoc committee would come up with a recommendation for which one to take. That comes back to us in APAC and then goes from us to Paul Bockelman, who presumably then takes it to the town council and to the school project committee.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, Lori, would you pick up the recounting and especially your observations and assessments and suggestions? I do all the yakking here, so I'd like the group to hear hear your voice and your views.
Lynn
Can I-
has
And then
a
you have a
question.
question?
Yes.
Yeah, before you move on, is I'm confused as to why a group that wasn't involved in the RFP would have the final decision on selecting the artwork and not the group that doesn't
Well, we
make
would
sense.
have the final decision because we would be the ones, we could turn it back. Because we would see what they had gotten in and such. The idea was, well, first of all, what Lori and I did on Friday was to speak to the value of separating the roles of APAC, where we would focus on the process and then have a juried selection committee to focus on on that selection. Now, that's not the most elegant way to do it.
That includes someone from the school?
There's a list, it's in the
bylaw.
it's in the bylaw for the percent for art, and it which I actually don't have, but I know I understand that it's there. That it says that we would oversee a jury committee, ad hoc committee that would include one member of the APAC on that committee, plus various people, like probably someone from the school committee, someone from the town planning, there were various, and people with design background. There was sort of a list of various people that would be included, and several meetings back, I believe we made a list of people that we could recommend for the committee. But it's in the bylaw that an ad hoc jury committee would, be the jury for this, and we would put out the RFP. We would, sort of go through, I think, receive all of the submissions and then pass them along, I'm sure, with recommendations, since we would have one of us would be part of that committee. That's my understanding how it's set
Yes.
up.
Mhm.
Did you
Okay.
see at the meeting, Lori?
Pardon?
What's your observations from being at the meeting?
Well, I think that, first off, the committee that's the building committee, with Kathy in charge, they have talked about art and what that could look like in the building. There's a video of rendering of the building and where art could go, and she's going to share with us what those places are that the builder has, or the architect, where they've envisioned art being able to go, and they are supposed to get that to us. I don't to you, Tom. I don't know if she has yet.
No, she hasn't yet. Mhm.
But that we're supposed to get that. She, for her, I think she's on the end of the budget's really tight. It's
Yeah.
even though there's that line item, there's not necessarily that money. I think her idea would be to have murals go up, something very low cost. On the other hand, there was discussion about what kind of art could go in, or with a larger budget. And Lynn Griesmer, who's the head of the town council, I think is more interested in trying to make more of this with public art, because in her opinion, this is more of an opportunity. And I said this will set a precedent. Because there's, in terms of the percent for art, would be this building. And then after this, if the DPW, a fire station, and maybe someday a senior center. But Lynn pointed out, a DPW and a fire station are going to be a much smaller final number, so the budget will be much smaller for the percent for art and not as visible because these are buildings that wouldn't be as visible. And so being that this is an opportunity to have something that actually could be, you know, a visible, meaningful work of art, that this is the moment to really, you know, do all that we can to support this. So, so there were different competing, you know, viewpoints on it.
Yeah.
We talked about some different ideas of, oh, and also just an aside, which I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but Kathy shared that there's a Fort River, there's a mural that one of the science teachers has that that may be interested in trying to incorporate. She talked about an artwork that's on the front of Fort River and wants to know what the cost would be to reproduce it. And then there was conversations about, you know, different ideas, a sundial, murals, a bike rack, a dinosaur sculpture related to where we're from, you know, the dinosaur footprints are here. A climbing apparatus she let us know that the climbing apparatus at Wildwood will come down. I don't know how that was relevant to our conversation. I'm just going over my notes. So, you know, and then there was a conversation about how, you know, a sculpture could be more visible and visible from the street rather than, you know, work that was murals inside or something that I was discussed, you know, the how long things, you know, can last, sustainability of the artwork, and you know, I sort of steering away from murals. And so there were, you know, these different conversations that came up. And let's see if I have any other notes that I want to share. It was clear that we weren't going to get the 250.
I would have been shocked.
And we kind of came down to the 100, around 100, and that would be a recommendation that the town council would consider. And I pointed out that is, so I don't know what number we finally landed on, what Paul will recommend, but I pointed out that 100 doesn't mean, if it's a budget of 100, it doesn't mean that 100,000 is going to be spent on the work, because you pay the artist and you know, the artist makes money on it, needs to be paid for their time, and there are different things that get involved in it. So it's not, you know, 100 isn't really that you get a sculpture that costs $100,000 to make. And so, so we, you know, we tried to be clear about that.
But see, 100 is still significant in terms of what artists would be interested in trying to bid to get that.
Exactly. And then that was something that Tom shared, an idea of being able to put out several different, I guess, I don't know what you call them, but levels where we could say,
Here.
you know, put out an RFP for an artwork, whether it was a sculpture or whatever, that would be at 100,000, and one that would be at 80, and one at 50, and one at 20. And so that we could actually work with those, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be one RFP for one work of art at $100,000. And that they liked that idea. They were, they liked that idea. So hopefully the next step was that, that we need to, as Tom mentioned, we need to get this finalized number that we're working with. And then we need to get all the information about the building and where the art can go, discuss what we want to put in the RFP.
Yeah.
And then it would go out. And in terms of, I asked, because I didn't know what the timeline for the building is. And it is set to open in September of 2026. So I guess that's kind of my takeaway.
Thank you. That was a lot. Thank you,
Yeah, that
Tom.
was
too.
great, Lori. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. A point or two I'll add on this, to Lori's, to Lori's point about the budget and what it goes to. The number that goes out on the RFP is for everything, everything.
Yeah.
But before it gets into the RFP, we need to subtract some money from it, because if we're going to pay finalists a stipend, we need to, that has to come out of the budget
Right.
itself. So in other words, to make $100,000 published budget, we should really get 102,000.
Yeah.
So we give 500 to 4 finalists, and that's very standard, and that's something we've done before too in Amherst.
There's also site prep. We probably have to
Well, that
add
has
in
to,
there as
it all
well,
has to
right?
be in, it all has to be
Yeah.
in that number. There can't be, there's no money beyond whatever that number that we get handed
Right.
is.
And we did clarify, and I think Tom said this, I just want to reiterate that even though that says in the bylaws something about the APAC managing things once
Mhm.
it's decided what the artwork is, in fact, that will then go to the town and the project manager of the building to manage, not us. So we did clarify that, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, that had included points like authorizing the town to make partial payments to the artist. You know, we're just not in that, we won't be in that loop. So
So,
that'll be,
okay.
mhm.
I think seeing the plans and seeing sort of what potential spots are, it seems like you also might be able to think of things in phases, like we might find that there are 6 places that might be great places, something in the cafeteria or something in the library, but maybe it's not all going to happen this time. Maybe there's something that, maybe an
Yeah.
outdoor sculpture is something that we could identify a place for it, but it's something that in the future, if there's money or something.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a
Yeah.
superb point, Lynn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, not to get on, not to go on a tangent, but that's becoming one of my hobby horse things, that we do a little bit of advanced planning, even where we don't have plans or money, but to do just what you said, to point out that, Public Art Commission, having looked at the school plans inside, outside of the building grounds, we identify these 8 places and, put an artwork in one of them, or maybe 2 on this project. But, let's get it on the record.
It
For
may
the
be
future.
also that you could fashion an RFP in such a way that you had several things out there, and when you saw what they were, then you picked which ones you actually did right now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the building committee and the architects and all those people already have identified places
Yeah.
that
Yeah, we
they,
don't have to make them up.
yeah,
Mhm.
no, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of money, and usually those people are going to have design people and architects who actually have a big investment in
Mhm.
how the art affects their ideas of how artful their building has been.
Mhm.
That's,
Mhm.
and I think that this commission has been left out of the loop of all that
Yeah.
for a long time.
We
And it's-
have,
yeah, it's more a matter of how you want to assert yourself and how you want this APAC to function. People talk about the hills they die on all the time, and
Mhm.
this commission has got a very big kind of reduction in status by having what was given to them taken away without the committee having the history. And I don't mean any of us supposed to,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we weren't there.
Mhm.
But how could this have happened
Yeah, that's right.
without the Public Art Committee having at least the respect, even
Mhm.
if it's not real big,
Mhm.
respect that a commission that's supposed to be with a big name like the Public Art Commission with commissioners,
Hmm.
Yeah.
is actually supposed to know what's going on. If they are, supposed to, I don't think that we know yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they put the line item in at 250 and we've never been consulted. And
On anything,
we weren't
basically.
consulted from the beginning. So I think that it's very clear, and I think Terry and Mikey, and Dara from the beginning, when we all came on and kind of were passed along very little to work with, and
Right.
it's just been several years of kind of trying to establish ourselves. And I think only now, is it really starting to happen? I mean, the fact that honestly, it's still bothering me from the earlier conversation. The fact that we don't know what money we have and that money that should have come to us didn't come to us and we may not be able to get it is
Wow.
just outrageous, in my opinion. And we're recorded, it's fine. It doesn't make sense. So I think that there are things we need to go after and be more aggressive about starting from where we are now. And I think we can. This is something they have to vote on. Of course, they can decide, at the end of the day that, someone at town council, there may be people who question the amount of money that should come through this project. But I think it's a real pivotal moment for Amherst in public art right now.
Well, you've heard of it. I mean, there's been questions raised, and I don't know how they were raised or why they were, except what you're saying kind of apply, it could be part of it. That the Public Art Commission should just be moved into the Cultural Council and disbanded. And I don't know if that's just talk or if that
Well,
is
that-
I
something.
think it's been put out there, but I don't think there's been anything official that.
Well, it's just that the
Yeah.
two things are so different.
Mhm.
Paul
Yeah.
wanted to
They don't
marry
go
them together.
The-
Yeah.
the
Oh, he
art-
did. Okay.
Cultural Art Commission, culture people, they pay artists to make art.
Mhm.
You may be paying artists to make art, but not individual artists. You're looking at it from a public point of view. And it's art that is going to commissioned for the most of the time or win a place by calls. Whereas the other council, the Cultural Council, gives money to artists to
Mhm.
make art. And it's not approved by anything like our commission.
Well, I think that this is where, when I did sit down with the different documents that we had come up with in terms of creating our own guidelines,
Yeah.
where this becomes clearer, and that, I don't know if we'll have time tonight, but to go over those. And my hope is that we can agree on those guidelines sooner than later so that those can be in place as we move forward in this project when we come under more visibility and to people in the town of who we are and what we do. Because
Yeah.
once these numbers come out, people are going to comment and want to know what we do and who we are. And
Yeah.
so I think that that
You kinda
document
did all
is
the-
important
Yeah,
at this
but-
point in
So I
time
have a
for us to
question
complete.
about procedural stuff. Is it legal for a commission to have an executive ad hoc or a ad hoc committee that can actually be one, two or three people who meet in person and edit something? Or does it always have to be open?
Committee of the whole.
Yeah, can you do, because one, it's
I
really.
would hope so, because we've been on this for a year.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to even pretend like you're editing in a
Okay.
situation like
Let
this.
me make this suggestion here. I'm looking at the
Okay.
clock. I would like to impose further on Lori to make some comments on the pieces you concentrated on in your rewrite, Lori, just to call those to our attention so we can then go and read them. And then just before we adjourn, I'd like to return quickly to the point that Dara has just raised, and maybe see if we can make a motion and a decision to request that we be given the authorization to set up a little a working group from within our membership to get this thing punched through and done.
I really appreciate the stuff you did, Lori, and like, I read all of that you gave us, you know. And I think that, but we have to talk about it where we can actually try out things and talk about the order of it and the shape of it and that kind of stuff, and abbreviation of some of it, get rid of some redundancy, make, like, you know what I mean? It's not the spirit of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
the
honestly, well, all I can speak to of what I did was try to bullet point and organize it in a way that we could look at it and understand the different. I sort of tried to keep everything in it that was
Yeah.
there,
That's how-
but bullet point it in a way that it was easier to read, and then edit, move things around, decide what we wanted and what we didn't. And then the part that I didn't include, the things at the end that were at the very end of the document that I didn't include at all, I thought, well, I just didn't get to those, and I don't know if any of it's important to include or not, but I left those in, that this is the stuff I either left out or
Mhm.
didn't include because I thought it was irrelevant or redundant,
Yeah.
or I just didn't get to it, you know? So I just kind of just made a stab at it.
Yeah, well, it's
That's
a
fine.
draft.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
this commission has not really addressed any of this in my knowledge of the past.
Right.
There, and so you're kind of starting from scratch, even if you've collected good information, because
Mhm.
you want to tailor it to what this commission thinks it is and is going to be. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of options, and we all can have, you know, have different ideas.
Well, I
about it.
think,
And that's, I think it's still good to, I mean, when you're working on something like this, that none of this group of people together have made this kind of thing. So you have to, it has taken a long time, Tom. I know, I understand that feeling, you know, but I think it's important to kind of remember, it can be an important document that you're making.
yeah, I think a couple of points here. I don't think we have any substantive differences of opinion.
No,
I think we've come to a consensus. But I think we've also proven that the way we've tried to work at it as a group in the whole is, you know, looks like another year if we keep doing it that way.
it's kind of
And
hard.
I'm not just speaking from frustration or at all
Yeah.
or fatigue. I'm thinking about timeliness, because we
Yeah.
may well be going before the council, you know, in
Yeah.
another month or two to argue for the percent for art, and we don't want for people to be saying, "Who the heck are you guys?" Yeah,
Good, I believe
yeah.
that.
And I
Mhm.
think we will be going. In fact, I think there were 2 different dates, and I think they were encouraging that as many of us who could go to these
Yeah.
meetings, the council
Well,
meetings, as possible to
well, but
speak,
here's
that we
Yeah.
would each, that when you speak, you get 5 minutes. So if I speak, I get 5 minutes. Tom speaks, he gets 5 minutes. So then we have 10 minutes, as opposed to one of us speaking and getting 5 minutes.
So
Yeah.
that means if we plan to go individually, we each have 5 minutes, so we could divide up the information.
right,
Right.
right. I think the way this works politically
Okay,
is that the individuals that we met with on Friday,
yeah,
none of them wants to be the only person speaking for or against
Right.
any of this. So I think that's,
To
so
the council as a whole.
right,
Yeah, okay.
that's right. And in front of the taxpayers.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I think it's a genuine opportunity and a genuine appreciation of other people speaking up and taking a share of ownership, as they
Mhm.
say, in this.
Yeah.
So I think getting to conclusion and on the document would be great. I think I'm also remembering Lynn's question from last month about, who is the audience? So I would
Yeah.
encourage, if we get a little working group, to answer that right away, to say, okay, this document that the little group's going to do has which one of the potential audiences,
I
and then
think,
we'll deal with the others subsequently.
we'll see, it seems like there are a couple of audiences, or at least maybe 3,
Mhm.
you know? And like a handbook to give to the artist is one thing when they're
Mhm.
really are
Right,
making something,
right. Mhm.
and is different from justifying your existence.
Yeah. I think
So you can divide it up.
town council is another one. I think Paul
Yeah.
Bockelman has
Yeah,
his office there, because I see our committee and probably others as being, extensions in service of functions that he's responsible for. But, no individual could go into the depth and such. But I think feeding him the good information and giving him clear rationale for what we are, what we're doing. I think that's one way of looking at that's a part of the audience answer.
mhm.
I also see it as being clear, sort of saying who we are in a public way, so that this document is accessible on the town website, and
Mhm.
anyone can go to it and say, this is what this commission is, and this is what they do. And, again, sooner than later, if possible, that we, have an updated list of what public art is in the town, and then expand it to, what other art is here, which we're not responsible for, but is here in the town. So, that our role to really, promote public art in the town of Amherst is clear.
Yeah.
I'll
Mhm.
take I'll take us, if it's okay, I'll take like your version, Lori, and put my ideas in it, and
That'd
then
be
we'll.
great.
That'd be wonderful.
okay.
Wonderful, Lynn.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you can meet and some of you can do that would be great.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay. So,
sorry, I have to grab this. I'll be right back.
all right, fine. So, can I get a motion to instruct your chair to request authorization to set up a small editing group subset of the commission,
To
I make a
present to the
motion.
commission.
commission,
About-
sorry.
I have a point of order.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't know that there's any way we need to seek um, permission.
Mhm.
I think we give it to ourselves. If I
Mhm.
remember what Jim said back in the day, the open meeting laws are very picky, but if you vote on creating what do we call it? A subcommittee, I think it's called.
that
Uh,
committee, yeah,
that's empowered to do a certain thing, as long as it's not made up of more than half of the number of
Mhm.
commissioners that we have. I don't think there's any, I think that is completely something within our purview that we can do. If it had more people, then like if
Yeah.
we are 7, and if it had 4 people in it, then that would be of concern, because that would be a power thing. It would tip the
Mhm.
it would tip the
Okay.
anyway. So I think we don't have to ask permission. I think we ourselves can make that decision, as far as I've read so far, and that from talking to Jim. So
Mhm.
I hope
Okay.
that is still correct.
And so,
So 3 people could meet. Yeah.
so what were the dates that you all were given by your Friday meeting that you might meet with the council?
I don't, we'll see what Lori remembers when she comes back, but I don't what I recall hearing was that there was a council meeting tonight and there's a council meeting in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
My opinion is that I don't think enough will be finished in 2 weeks for a package to be an idea, plan to be taken to the council. But
Is
I
the,
would, I would suggest planning that we be ready to do that in 30 days.
is the council's agenda on the available like a week ahead of time or 3 days
Yes.
ahead of time?
Yes, it is.
On the website?
Yes,
So we
same
would
rule
see-
as for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So going back, I'd like to think that Terry is right. What she says sounds correct to me. So maybe I'll withdraw my question about the motion, and what I'll do is I'll just let Angela know what we are planning to do and to speak up if she knows the reason why that's not a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay.
So what
Um,
else do we have to do?
Did they give you other than saying when they thought the building would be occupied, do they have a sense of when they want this
Oh, yeah.
project to go on, or, I mean,
Thank you for asking that too, because that was a point that I brought up with them. Um, the process of selecting a a finalist and awarding a contract, I reckon that to be 6 months.
yeah, okay.
And so if you take the timeline of the overall project, the school building project, um, where does that 6 month span come in? Does it start now? Does it start in a few months? And then after that award, you still need time for the artist to build the work or, create it, install it. And what timing what are the timing options? One of those obviously is that the artwork is in place on day one when school opens. Another is that it's in place maybe months later when there's a formal opening
Hmm.
of the project. And you can imagine that there are benefits, the pros and cons either way. If you do it later, the artist might have a chance to see the finished building
Yeah.
before finalizing. On the other hand, it might be very effective to have it there to greet the students and everybody else on the first day of school. And then there's the point that, well, maybe it's the whole project timeline slips. So they're trying to still keep to the original September 2026 opening date, but um, that's not clear that they'll make it.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, should we quit while we're ahead?
Yeah,
Okay. Let's have a motion to adjourn.
you've got it.
So made.
Okay. And seconded. And
Seconded.
Got that
see
too.
you all next time.
Thank
I've
you.
got some follow-ups to do with people on various things, and I'll be back in touch.
Thank
Okay,
you, Tom.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Nice to see you all.
Yes.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.